So we
what
have
are
a
we doing today?
database.
And to do what though?
Yeah, well, it doesn't do anything, but we have one.
Yeah, that's better than like just having 4 requests to put my name in. I think that's good. Good start.
Okay, we have a table. The table is right here.
Yes.
We have some data in the table. But
Remind me
then,
again, what happened to the others? We had more rows, right?
yeah, we deleted this, some of the rows in the previous episode.
So we'll have that specifications with our code as well, right?
Specifications with our
In the
code?
sense that we'll be able to delete stuff with our code.
What do you mean?
Okay, so our to-dos app, if I'm done with that to-do item, it will get deleted from the UI, right?
Yes.
That's what I mean. So yeah, we'll just have a delete or done endpoint, right?
Yes, we will have that in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. That's all. Okay.
So later, when we have that button to click to mark the item as done, in the database, that item is going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I.
Yes. But for now, we are a few steps
behind. Yes.
Because we have a database, the table is there, but we have been interacting with the database using
the
IntelliJ.
Console, yeah, that's not good.
So far, we have not used the database in the application itself.
Yep.
So far, our database is still this local variable.
Yes.
We should change that.
Yeah.
And we have 2 requests. One to list all the items
yes.
And one to create the item.
Yes.
I would like to start with the create an item.
Yeah, I think that's more straightforward, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's not that hard. Here we have something to add to that local variable, right? To create a new item. Well, instead of doing this, we could just go to the database.
Yeah.
And we already have a way to connect to the database. So all we have to do is to create a new statement.
Shouldn't you close that statement first, though?
That is a good point. We have interacted with this in the past, and we saw that you have to first do something.
Yes.
And then you have to say you are done by clicking this button, submit. And then it really goes to the database. And here it's the same thing. You have to say statement and execute, but then you have to close the statement to really commit that action.
The database,
It just so happens that, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, I haven't tested, but I believe what happens is when the server shuts down, it closes all the resources that are still open, including this statement. And that's why it
gets committed. So it gets committed, but it's not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly inconsistent.
So it's better to say statement close. It's the same thing you do when you're managing files in the file system. You write to the file, or you read from the file, or whatever, and then you close the file descriptor.
Exactly.
And it would be good to do with this, with the connection too.
Yeah, but I think that should be at the end, right?
Yeah, so let's leave a to-do here to close the connection.
How about that becomes one of the items in the app? Just an idea.
Fair. Close the connection. All right. So yeah, we are back here. We are creating a statement.
A new statement, yes.
It's already defined in this scope, fair. So I'll call this create statement. Fair. Now we have a statement. We can execute something. We can execute a query.
Create statement.execute.
Fair. And now we have to write some SQL code to insert an element.
Yep. You just have an insert into command to do that.
Insert into. Then we have to say the table, which is items, as we called it here. We have to say the rows in the table that we want to add to.
Yes, columns.
Correct. Columns, not rows.
Yeah, exactly.
The columns. We don't want to add to the identifier because the database is going to create that identifier for us. We do want to add to the description.
Yes. You just add that in the parentheses.
Description. And then we have to say what the values are. One value for column. For each column. So we have only one column. We need to say only one value. And the value can be just the empty string, as it used to be
when we had
when we
the
had
original
this.
fake construct.
And I don't know what I just clicked. Anyway, so this is going to insert something into the database.
Yes, you can close it now.
I can close the create
The
statement. Create statement, close.
And you can try to run it, and we'll know.
Yes, and I'm not going to remove this line for now.
Okay.
So we will see two different things.
Yeah.
One in the application and one in the database.
In the database.
Let's try to run this code.
This is taking a while. That's odd.
Yeah, because it's the first run of the day, it's waking up.
It's early.
Localhost 7000.
Yes.
And we don't see any to-do items here, but we can create some.
Yes.
And then we see some created items. But that is coming from our variable.
Yeah.
We are from this variable.
Yes.
We are still not using the database to get the items.
Yeah.
We are still using the items variable.
Yep.
But we see in the database when we refresh that there are some new items there.
Yeah.
So
the plus button works.
It works. We can get rid of this line.
Yes.
That was the line that was doing the fake items thing.
Yeah.
Next, we need to select from our table to get the items when we get this request, right?
Yes.
So we start to answer with real items.
Yeah. Actually, can you rerun the server?
Of course.
So now if you see the app, when you switch to the app and refresh, it will be empty. Yeah, because the items variable has been reset again to 0 and it's not taking anything from the database. So even if we delete the items.add, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I can now click on plus and I don't see anything in the app,
exactly.
which is super interesting. It doesn't happen in the app.
Yeah, but if you go to the database,
there will be some new items there. Here.
Refresh, there you go.
Some new items there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now,
to get those items.
To get the items.
I want real data.
Yeah, so let's create a statement, and I'm going to call this get statement. And the connection will give us a statement. And just so I don't forget, I will say close right away. And then we want to...
It's a safety blanket.
Yeah. And then we want to execute some query. And I could just use this method. But this method is only good...
it does not return anything. So I will not know what those items are anyways. That defeats the point of the statement. Yeah, there are different ways to execute queries given a statement. Yeah. One is execute, and that's what we use when we don't care about the results. Yes. So we create a table. Okay, table created. Or you insert an item. Oh, awesome. Yeah. The item was inserted. But this time, we want to see the results. We want to query something and get data back from the database. So we have to say execute query, which is a different kind of executor, a different flavor. Yeah. And then we can say what the query is. Yes. This will become select star from... Select star from items. Yeah. You know what? I don't really like star. It's not explicit enough for me. So I will say identifier and description. Yeah. Okay, fair. Just because this way we know in which order things are coming, we know what we are selecting. Yeah. So I think also, can you figure out what that is? SQL dialect? Change dialect to... I hit option return, by the way, which in IntelliJ means please solve this for me. Yeah. And so the SQL dialect, as I said, SQL is a standard and you can use it to talk to any database. Yep. But each database has some quirks. Yeah, exactly. So I have to say here that I'm using SQLite. And then when I say OK, actually, these go away. You should have done project, not global. I have no idea how to get back there. I don't either. Yeah. Maybe not in the project configuration, but in the preferences for the whole editor. Dialect, SQL dialect. No, I think just look at dialect. I think that was the word. SQL dialect. SQL dialects. Okay, so you want me to change global to none, and the project becomes SQLite. What if you want to do Postgres? In another project. Yes, then you're screwed. Well, now
IntelliJ knows that we are talking a specific kind of SQL in these queries, and it will try to help us the best it can. Okay, so it has some results from the database. Let's turn those results from the database into Java objects. To begin with, let's go to the documentation, because this part I never remember really. So we execute a query.
You don't need to also, to be honest.
Yeah, and we get something that they call a result set, which
we're not doing right now.
Yeah, we are not getting a result set here. So let's assign this to a
variable
result. I'm going to call it result. And again, every resource that we open, we should close. So just so I don't forget, I will close this result. Now here we have access to the result. And the result works like a pointer. So there is a table like this, and then we selected all these items, and then there is a pointer. It's currently pointing at this guy, and then it points to the next one and to the next one. And each time I can get the
values of that particular
row.
So you need to iterate through them.
Yes. So I'm going to say while the result
next
has a next item. So while I still have one more row to select. And again, I am referring to this line here. Now, while I have a next one, I can say result.get, and I have to say what the type is. So for identifier, that would be integer. And for description, that would be get string. And I have to say what is the name of the column I am selecting, column label, identifier.
See, IntelliJ helped out.
Yes, and description. Okay, I'm getting the data from the database. What do I do with it?
I create a list. You had an items list, right? Why not create an actual list with items from that database?
Perfect. So I can say items.add.
No, you can't.
Why not?
If you scroll down, you changed something a while ago. Just scroll down into the items object. There's no constructor, which if you pass in identifier and description, it will create an object.
Right, that's the next part. So I can still say this, right? But then I would have to say new item.
Whatever.
New item, and then I would have to pass this to pieces of information. But then I got rid of that constructor many episodes ago.
Yeah, actually, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know how to make this all fit in this. How does that look? Terrible. It looks terrible.
Also, I don't think that will work.
Because I don't have the constructors.
Yeah.
So let's recreate that constructor.
How about you delete the one that's there on the screen? That's useless.
It is useless. So, okay. I also can delete this current identifier thing, right?
All of this was for auto-generating the next identifier, which our database is now doing for us. SQLite. So you can just change that.
Yeah, and I don't remember how to say generate. Oh, I remember. It's command N. Okay, command N, and I'll generate a constructor with these two fields. Now I have that constructor, and this line works.
The red dots go away.
Yeah. Is there some way to make this more readable? Because this reads terribly.
I don't think so. You can maybe just indent them more.
I think I'm going to leave it at that. And is there something else you want to do?
To show them.
Okay. Do you want to run this?
Let's see. Okay, so there's an items object. I get all of it now. Can you scroll down? Looks okay.
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
But there is something interesting is going to happen. I believe. Yes, I believe something interesting is going to happen. Check this out. We run the server. Go to the app. Doesn't even work. Okay, that was more interesting than I was expecting. We are getting some exception. What is the exception?
Wait, did it say eat what you kill?
Sorry?
There's an error that says eat what you kill. I don't know. Anyways, SQL error.
Yeah, or missing database, row value misused. Why is it saying that?
Where is it? Okay, can you run it once and not press 4 buttons? Okay, server now, or like on the app.
You want me to refresh?
Refresh. Screwed. Let's go. Now we can see. Yes, there it is. Okay.
Row value misused. Why would it say that?
That is not right.
And there is no specific point in the application.
I hate Java for this. It is just frustrating. But how about we print stuff and see what's happening?
Fair enough. So I can always say system out print line with just the identifier, because I know for sure the identifier is going to be there. I'm going to comment out this code because I don't want to get this exception in the console every time. Just we run this and refresh.
Oh, we're screwed already. How is that possible?
SQL error, or I don't know. Let's look at the documentation. Is there something I'm missing? So I say next, and I say get int with the identifier.
Is it because of result set versus var? But that should not be an issue.
No, that should not be an issue. Now I'm gonna try the big guns.
Breakpoints, yeah.
I'm gonna run this in debug mode. So I'm stopping the server. I'm rerunning it in debug mode, and then we get to see each line executing. And the server is running. All right, it started. Okay, we got into a breakpoint. So when we create a connection, is that the problem? I don't know. Can I just take one step forward?
No, I think you can put another breakpoint and then
step over. That should do it. Okay, so now we are on the next line. So get statement is fine. We have a statement. It's right here. JDBC statement number 2187. We have a statement. Next, can we execute the query without running into problems? It appears that we cannot. The problem is in running the query.
Can you try select star, please?
Okay, we can try select star.
Because, wait, let me remember. So do you have to have the parentheses around it, or is it just
like this?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Fair enough.
It may be the parentheses.
You know, this is a great opportunity for us to show something else. We can come here to the console and execute some queries, straight queries. So this works. Parentheses don't work.
That's it.
Oh, SQLite error.
That's
SQL
what
error,
we wanted.
missing database or row value misused. Okay, so the problem was the parentheses. And now I can remove the breakpoints and remove this line. Uncomment those lines. Stop everything. Stop everything. Stop debugging. Stop the server. Stop everything. Restart everything. This was more interesting than I was expecting, but I still think that something interesting is going to happen now when I refresh.
You're right. Oh.
Super nice, huh? Why is that?
Because it's getting executed every time.
Well, yes, we are executing this every 200 milliseconds. Yes. If you remember a few episodes ago, that's what we did in the front end. There's something else happening here. This variable, this items variable, is the one that we are adding to.
Yeah, it's never refreshed.
It is, it's the same always. So every 200 milliseconds, we go to the database, we get everything, and we add to the same list.
Yes.
And we keep adding that to the same list. So what we really want to do is to have this list starting fresh.
Yes, every time.
And now we rerun this server.
Either that or you can empty the list every time at the end.
That would be terrible design. No. Okay,
see,
so now we can get items from the database. We can add new items to the database.
Yes.
Sounds good. I'm happy with this.
That's progress.
But there is still a to-do left, right? Close the connection.
Yes.
Just
where?
We want to do this as the last thing in this episode so we can wrap everything up on the database for now.
Yeah.
So let's do this part.
Where?
Well, that's to close the connection, I could try to just come to the connection and close it here. Do you think that would work?
I am not sure, to be honest.
I don't think that will work. Let's see if we can rerun this and see that not working. So now the server is running and we refresh and everything is broken. We get an exception. What is the exception? It's super interesting. It's saying that the database is closed. So we are trying to get something from the database when we run, for instance, here, connection create statement, when we are running the get request, this request. But by that point, this line has already run. So it has already closed the connection. We want to close the connection when the server is shutting down.
Yeah, that's what I was. So there has to be an event about this, but I'm not sure what.
Yeah, so let's go to Javalin. And in the documentation, there is something called lifecycle. I think that's what they call it. Lifecycle events. Yeah.
Server stopping. I think that's what you want.
Yes, server stopping. Or even better, when the server has stopped. So we'll know that the server is stopped so we can close the connection to the database. So here we have the Javalin app. And probably what we have to say is app.events, I suppose.
Yes.
So we say app.event.
It
read events.
No, I think it's... So it's because it's a list. I think you just want one, right? It's event.server stopped.
How do you think this is going to read? I have no idea what you mean. It was supposed to be events, I suppose, from the documentation. That's what I gather. But anyway, maybe they renamed the thing. I don't know.
Event.server stopped.
I don't think that is giving me anything. Server stopped.
How about, so go to the next one, or previous stop. No, not this. This. How about you copy this and try?
Yeah, it appears that the documentation is not matching
the code itself.
The code. Are we using the right version of the documentation? Docs for 2.8, and here in Gradle we have 2.8 set up. Yes. It appears that the documentation has a problem. Cannot resolve the method, but an event method does exist. Could we get something out of IntelliJ for this? Please help me. Event listener in Javalin cannot be applied. I have no idea.
Yeah, so this is flummoxing.
Yeah, so we'll figure this out. And in the beginning of the next episode, we can try to solve this. I'll leave the commit for the next episode. But our subject of the next episode is something else entirely, right?
It's wrapping up the database, like you want update requests.
Oh yeah, but we don't even have an API for that. We don't have a front end for that. We don't have anything for that. So I think that for the next episode, it would be nice to see some maybe some tests.
Yeah,
we could write some tests.
Yes,
because our goal here initially is to cover all the tools in the toolbox. And we have covered many of them, but we have not talked...
Almost all of them, actually.
Almost all of them, but we have not talked about testing. So we'll fix this database problem, and then we'll talk about some tests.
Okay.
All right. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.